Let me say this loud and clear. If you are dating someone who's a co-parent, their co-parenting situation is none of your business. I know this episode is going to ruffle some feathers, but it needs to be said. And I think as someone who deals with their co-parent's partner and also has a partner, I feel like I'm in a pretty good position to share this hot take. If you get into a relationship with someone who co-parents, first of all, it's your job to find out the situation, how they co-parent, and work out if that fits within your life. If you don't like it, don't get involved. Walk away. If you can deal with that co-parenting, the way they co-parent, the way they deal with their ex, by all means, go on in, start the relationship. But it's a two-man job, co-parenting, and that's between the two parents of the child. You are there purely as a support for your partner, not as an instigator, not as a person who makes decisions or creates change. And I honestly wish more people did this because it would allow for more peaceful and calm co-parenting. Right now, I have so many friends and people that I've connected with who had a really good co-parenting till a partner came along. And now that partner dictates everything. And it's just so ick. It's just so ick. And so I just want to share my thoughts on it. And my hope for this episode, number one, is to help those who are dealing with a difficult partner to navigate it. But number two, I hope those difficult partners are listening to this. I hope you are listening to this, and I hope you can see and zoom out and start taking a step back if you're too involved in your partner's co-parenting. Your partner is not the third parent in the co-parenting situation. They are a support. Now, when the children are in your care, yes, your partner may act like an extra parent in the household. Absolutely. In that situation, in your house, yes, that does apply. But when it comes to decisions for that child that the biological parents need to make, you are not the third parent, or your partner is not the third parent. They are there as a support for you to bounce ideas off, to listen, to be a sounding board, to be the person to hold you if it's emotional. But they're not there to drive the decisions. The decisions have to be driven by you and your co-parent. And here's the reason. Because you guys are not going anywhere. The co-parents are not going anywhere. You are that child's parents for life. You have to make those decisions on what's best for you and your child. Your partners may come and go. They may be around forever, but they may come and go. It is your partner, and the relationship with your partner is your business, is your unit in your house. It is not your unit in your co-parenting. Your co-parent unit is mum and dad and the child. And it has to stay like that. If you want peace, it has to stay like that. And if you're the person with a partner who is maybe getting a little bit too involved in your co-parenting, think about it from the other co-parent's point of view. Zoom yourself out, go all the way out. And this is the situation that I see the most common. Two parents separate, whatever happens, they work it out, they have an amicable co-parenting, they've got the custody, they're able to have chit-chats. They're not best mates, but you're able to have chit-chats, you're able to pick up the phone, ask for some support, ask a question, have a discussion, happy days. New partner comes along. All of a sudden, things are starting to get difficult. All of a sudden, a parent's starting to push back. All of a sudden, rules are changing. All of a sudden, the situation is changing. Now, think about it from the other co-parent's point of view. They were happy and they had a sense of direction. They had a plan. They had ease. It was calm. It was peaceful. You've now brought someone else into the mix. That's your business. You do whatever you want with that situation. But it shouldn't have to affect your co-parent. And now imagine that co-parent now has to deal with some disagreements, arguments, you changing your mind about things that you may have done the same way for years. It creates resentment and it creates a sense in your co-parent of, for God's sake, it was so good and now this is happening. Why? Now, I'll also say this. There can be situations where maybe your co-parent's walking all over you. Maybe you are a bit of a wet blanket. Your co-parent's walking all over you and you have no boundaries. And maybe your partner's come in and is helping you assert some boundaries. That is a slightly different situation. That is helping support you do what's best for you. And that is, I'm not talking about that in this situation. Again, your partner still should have no contact with your co-parent or be leading any discussions or going at your co-parent for any reason at all. But if they are supporting you or giving you, I guess, guidance on how to protect yourself, that's a different situation. Circling back, I think before you even start considering having a partner, have your co-parenting stuff sorted first and get those routines and get those core values down packed so that nothing can shake it. Then when your partner comes along, they're walking into hopefully an already set boundary and situation, and they know what they're getting themselves in for. And if they don't like it, they don't even start a relationship with you. But if they like it, then they can accept it. But what their job is then not to start changing it later down the track. If your situation is not ideal for your new partner, maybe lifestyle or routine or schedule, it is not your job to change your co-parenting regulations, whatever, with your children to please your partner. It is your partner's job to accommodate because the kids come first. The situation comes first. Let's say, for example, you have your kids 50-50, 1 week on, 1 week off, and your co-parent, you have an agreement with your co-parent that you do 12 o'clock exchanges on a Sunday. Let's just say, for example, you've been doing that for a while, let's say a year. It works really well. The kids are really happy. Your new partner comes along and your new partner's all of a sudden decided that they want to go for Sunday lunch every Sunday, and they say to you, you need to change your co-parent, you need to change your drop-off time to 4 o'clock because I want to have Sunday lunch every lunchtime on a Sunday with the family. No, they don't get to do that. They can make suggestions, they can ask, but they don't get to demand it. It's their job to accommodate. Instead of Sunday lunch, have Saturday lunch, have Friday lunch, or have Sunday evening lunch. I guess that would be dinner. Have Sunday dinner, have Sunday breakfast. And this is just an example I've literally just pulled out of thin air. They need to accommodate. It's completely fine to expect your partner to accommodate your co-parenting situation and not be the one to change it. We are really fortunate that in our situation, we have both partners who are very supportive of the situation. In my case, I've never had a conversation where my partner has tried to change the way that I co-parent, change the structure, change the routine, change any of the requirements. He has only been there as a support. If I ask questions or I ask for advice, he'll give it. Otherwise, he's just a support person. Now, obviously, I can't fully talk about the other side for my co-parent because what happens behind closed doors is completely down to them. But I know for myself, I don't feel like his partner interferes. She doesn't message me, you need to do this, you need to do that, causing any arguments. The only conversations we really ever have by text message are, for example, if things need to be dropped off and my co-parent's not available. Or I'll give an example. She took my kids to a place for a drink and she didn't know what their order was and couldn't understand what she was trying to say. So she texted me and asked what her order was and I simply gave it to her. They're the kind of conversations that I have with my co-parent's partner. Everything else goes through my co-parent. I don't ask her if they're free on Friday night to have the kids. That is a co-parent question. I go straight to my co-parent. Even though my co-parent can take sometimes 2 working days to respond to a text message and she will reply quite quickly, it is still my job to communicate directly with him about everything. Even situations that have happened over the past few years where maybe I have had something pop up, or someone has said something, or the kids have said something and it's related to his partner, still don't go to her. That is not my job. My job is to go to him and allow him to deal with it, and him to deal with the situation how he sees best, because that is his business. It is not my business. And the same the other way. I would never expect my co-parent to text my partner asking things instead of asking me directly. It's not his business. It's not that's not the situation. The situation is between me and him. It stays between me and him. There obviously is cases where maybe I've texted my co-parent and said, hey, I've got a wedding on this weekend. Any chance you could have the kids for an extra night? He may then have to go to his partner and say, hey, I've been asked to have the kids. Have we got anything on? Check the schedule. Anything on? No, great, can I have them? Oh, we've got something on. That is completely different. That is respect. That is you double checking with your partner that you're not about to ruin plans that they may have. There is a line and a boundary that you do need to draw when it comes to the kids come first, for example. Or it might be, I'm trying to think of an example of something that I would have messaged him and I would fully expect. Oh, Christmas, for example. Christmas plans. I asked him, what's the plans for Christmas? When are you dropping them off Christmas Eve? When are you picking them up Christmas Day? I did not get a response for over a week. But what I knew, because I'm aware of our situations, is that he will be doing Christmas with her family. And he was probably waiting on details of the day. Now, someone in my TikTok comment section said, oh, he's just prioritizing his girlfriend before his kids. In this situation, yes, but not in the toxic way that you suggested. He's prioritizing the plans with his girlfriend's family because that is their Christmas day. And that is what my kids are going to be a part of. And they are going to have a blast. So he finally got back to me like the before Christmas Eve and was like, I'm going to pick them up at 12. We're going to go here. We're going to go spend the day here. This is what we're going to do. And then they'll either come back to you or I'll keep them. Let's just wing it. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Again, in that situation, he would need to go and have a conversation with his partner about what's the plans, what's going on, what's the situation. And then I will wait for the response. Again, we've got the summer holidays now. So we've got 5 weeks of summer holidays where I'm juggling full-time work and the kids. He's juggling full-time work and the kids. Childcare is a big subject now for the next 5 weeks. If they can't, if he's working and his partner can't look after the kids and he really needs help, he might have to reach out to me and he might need to say, hey, is there any chance you could look after the kids on this day? I'm struggling to find childcare and I've got to work. That's my job then to, first of all, make sure that I can with my current job, but again, make sure that it's not disrupting any plans that I may have with my partner, or my partner may have plans. And I mean, not so much because we all work full time. But again, the other way around. If I need to message him and say, hey, I've got a meeting or I need to go here and I can't have the kids at home, can you help? It will be a conversation where he goes to his partner and says, hey, can we help, or can I help, or what's the plan? That is a situation that is okay. And I guess other conversations where the partner can be included, again, could be if you're moving into your partner's home and your partner already has set rules, boundaries, the way that they live their life, and you are moving yourself and your children into that, that would be a situation where your partner will probably control most of it, but you should know what you're getting yourself into as you move the kids. So if it means that some kid routines need to change slightly, you should be aware of it before you move in, and it should then be a discussion, if it needs to be a discussion, with your co-parent. For example, when my kids moved in, they moved in with partner and moved the kids in, and we had a situation where, you know, her kids really healthy foods and changes it up and is very proactive with homemade cooking. Now, I've been a bit slack with that. He was slack with that when we lived together. Unfortunately, my kids got stuck in a 4 or 5 meals only situation. And he was aware of that when he moved them in. And they, as a household, decided to stay very firm on keeping that situation in that house of the fresh meals, the cooking from scratch. they're having different meals. It caused some disruption with my kids. They were like, whoa, this is not what we usually eat. I don't really like doing this. And it did cause a situation which we had to handle. But that situation remained between me and Dad. We handled that situation. I respected they were her boundaries in her house, and that's how she's raised her kids, and that's what she does. And I understood there was some slight changes to accommodate my kids, but yeah, they should need to eat more. They should need to do better. And we then went to a professional for help. We didn't try and all sort the situation out together, because actually none of us in the dynamic were professionals in this situation. We needed to go to a professional. Me and Dad went to the professional. We sorted it. Everything has been great for a while now. So again, that could be where your partner does get to stipulate some of the boundaries, because that's you're into their life. But if your partner is moving into your life, it's a completely different situation. So when your partner starts having opinions on your co-parenting, things such as, you're putting your child before me. That's a good classic one. Talking about how often you see your kids, talking about how often you talk to your ex, talking about how helpful you are with your ex or with your kids, how much you do for everybody. They are red flags, serious red flags. Because what they're not doing is they're not supporting you in your co-parenting situation. They are trying to change it and control you. And that comes from a place of insecurity, and you don't want to have that around your co-parenting if you're trying to co-parent calmly and peacefully. If your partner is trying to change the routine because they feel left out, remind them that that's a them problem and not a you problem. And that sounds harsh, but it is true. And to the partner who is dating a co-parent, we get it. It is not easy to date someone who is still in touch with their ex, who has constant communication with their ex because they co-parent. People who co-parent peacefully often have more communication than people who don't co-parent peacefully. But what it needs to take is some emotional intelligence, some maturity, and a sense of security in yourself and confidence in yourself that their situation, and see it for what it is, but that is not a reflection on how they love you, how they support you, how they want to be with you. Your job is to practice patience, maturity, and self-awareness so you can support your partner to continue the peaceful co-parenting. I've had a comment before by someone who said, your co-parenting is too good, I couldn't handle that. And I thought, how ridiculous. My co-parenting is too good, which means we're too kid focused, we're too chill, we're too peaceful, we're too, I'm not going to say we're too friendly, because we're not too friendly. We respect each other and we are friends. If that makes you feel uncomfortable and you couldn't handle that, that is a reflection on your maturity and your insecurities. That is not a reflection on the other people's co-parenting. And I remember when they said that to me, and I thought, poor you. Like, you are someone who needs to find someone who has a toxic co-parenting or no kids at all, because that's what will make you feel secure. And how unfortunate. And I just thought, gosh, I'm glad my ex didn't meet someone like you. If your partner is a good co-parent, that is a green flag. It is not a threat. It is not a bad thing. It means they have a level of maturity, self-awareness, and also they've done a level of healing where they can detach from that person that they might have spent a long time with, they might have been married, to be able to put their kids first. Someone who is able to put their ego aside for the sake of their kids is a massive walking green flag. Someone who can't put their ego aside for the sake of their kids, massive red flag, and I see it all the time, and it just makes me, it gives me the ick. So to end this, whether you're the partner or whether you're the co-parent, just love your person and love their situation and support them where they're at. Don't try to change it, don't try to interfere, don't try to inject your thoughts and ideologies. Love them where they're at, let them continue as they are, and you will be able to then have a very peaceful situation that is very kid focused. And as those kids get older, they will praise and talk about you all to their children, about how easy you made their childhood because you guys were able to be amicable and kind to each other.